This is what spirituality is about. Mahatma Gandhi said on one occasion, Mahatma Gandhi, the father of the Indian nation, he said on one occasion, for 30 years I have tried to come face to face with God, but I have not yet succeeded. It is this direct communion with God that is needed. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa had it. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, one of the saints of modern India. You have heard the name of Swami Vivekananda?
Yes.
When he was a student at the college, he was known as Narendra Gupta. Narendra Gupta wondered, he said, so many people are talking of God, but has anyone seen God? Has anyone talked to God? Has anyone met God? He met a number of religious leaders of those days, but he did not get a satisfactory answer. Then someone said to him, why don't you go to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa? He will give you the answer. And Narendra Gupta, who later became known as Swami Vivekananda, came to Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa and put to him a direct question. Sir, you talk of God, but have you seen God? He was amazed. Then he got the answer from the holy man. Sri Ramakrishna said to him, I see God more clearly than I see you. Vivekananda could not understand. He said, maybe this man is only saying these words. How can I say that God exists? It is only when I see God that I will be able to say that God exists. So he asked Sri Ramakrishna, he said, can I see God? And Sri Ramakrishna said to him, it is the privilege of every human being. Everyone who has received this human body can see God. But there are they who want to see God. Boys are shedding cupful tears for girls, and girls are shedding cupful tears for boys. Men are shedding tears for women. Women are shedding tears for men. Where are they who will shed tears for the love of God? Verily I say unto you, if you will but shed tears of longing, tears of yearning for God, you will surely see God. It is this direct experience that is wanted, that is needed. That is spirituality. But my time has traveled fast. Before I close, I would like to pass on to you a few practical suggestions on how to practice spirituality in daily life. Practical suggestion number 1 is, if you wish to live a spiritual life, if you wish to walk on the spiritual path, you must build your life in what they call the golden rule. You know the golden rule, don't you? The golden rule which states, do unto others as you would wish others do unto you. On the spiritual path there are no others. Everyone is a part of the great whole. We are not apart from each other. You and I, and all of us who are sitting in this hall, we really are parts of that one whole. Therefore we must not do anything to another which we would not wish to be done by others to us. This is the golden rule. You have the golden rule in every religion. Every religious teacher, every religious prophet, every founder of religion has given to his devotees, his disciples, this golden rule. If only you bind your life with this golden rule, you will have taken a few steps forward on the spiritual path. Practical suggestion number 2 is, number 1 is always follow the golden rule, and number 2 is take care of the thoughts that you think. Very often we pay scant attention to our thoughts. We say, after all, it was a thought, what does it matter? No, my friends, thoughts are things. Thoughts are forces. Thoughts are the building blocks of life. With thoughts, we are writing our own destiny. Thoughts are the ink in the pen with which we are writing our own destiny. We are the builders of our own destiny. We are the masters of our own fate. The beginning is in the thought. A thought which is constantly held in the mind within will drive you to action. It may be a thought of service. It will drive you to an act of service. It may be a thought of lust. It will drag you down into an abyss of lust. Take care of your thoughts. Thoughts, when they are a thought which you keep in the mind within, will drive you to action. And action, when it is repeated over and over again, will form a habit. Be very careful of forming habits. Because if you form an evil habit, you become a slave to the habit. And you will not be able to come out of it easily. So many young people meet me and they say to me, what are we to do? We have formed the habit of drugs, taking drugs. We want to come out, but we can't do it. We are dragged into an abyss, as it were. A habit is a terrible thing. Once you form it, it becomes your master. You become its slave. Habit, H-A-B-I-T. Cut off its H, a bit still remains. Cut off its A, bit still remains. Cut off its B, it still remains. Cut off its I, if there is no other habit, there is surely the habit of T. T still remains. Habit is a terrible thing. Be very careful to form habits. Form good habits, yes. Because habits, the sum total of your habits forms your character. And it is your character that forms your destiny. Therefore, be very careful about the thoughts that you think. There is a teacher in America, I don't know the state where he lives, but his name is Dr. Phelps. I love to call him Dr. Helps because he has helped many to live the true life, the life of health and happiness and harmony, the life of prosperity and plenty and peace. And he says to his students, that man is the happiest who thinks the happiest thoughts. Every one of you wants to be happy, I know. There is no one on earth who does not want to be happy. A lecturer was addressing an audience and turning to the members of the audience, he said, is it not true that every one of you wants to be happy? Those that want to be happy, raise your hands. All hands were raised. There was one man in the third row, he had not raised his hand. And pointing to him, the lecturer said, my friend, is it true that you don't want to be happy? They all turned to him and they found that he was already happy. He was happily sleeping and snoring. And Dr. William Helps says that man is the happiest who thinks the happiest thoughts. Think thoughts of health, happiness, harmony, prosperity, peace, success, victory. Don't think unhappy thoughts of passion, pride, resentment, ill will. Take care of your thoughts. There is an Indian doctor, he says, keep your upstairs clean and your downstairs will be healthy. If you want health, keep your upstairs clean and your downstairs will be healthy. My friends, this is practical suggestion number 2. Practical suggestion number 2 is always take care of your thoughts. Practical suggestion number 3 is always speak the truth. If you want to move on the path of spirituality, if you want to grow in the spiritual life, you must always speak the truth. Once again, a quotation from Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi used to say, people say God is truth, but I say truth is God. Truth is God. Therefore, you must always in your daily life bear witness to truth. Gurudev Sadhu Vaswani used to say, truth, though she take me to the scaffold, truth, though she lead me through the fire, I will not give up truth. Truth. God is truth, and if you want to realize God, if you want to approach God, if you want to come closer to God, you must always speak the truth. Whatever it may mean. I do not have the time to give you examples, therefore I shall proceed to the next point for practical suggestion number 4. The S of spirituality is silence. You must practice silence every day. Today people are afraid of silence. It is such a noisome world. Wherever you go, there are noises. There are people I know, when they get up in the morning, even before they wash their face, they put on the TV and it keeps on blaring full volume. Whether somebody listens to it or not, they are not concerned. The noise goes on. We live in a noisome world. Even as there are particles of dust, they come and cling to our clothes. And we wash them with soap and water. Even so, there are particles of noise. They come and cling to our minds, to our hearts, to our souls. And these particles of noise can be washed only in the waters of silence. Thomas Merton was a great Christian mystic of the last century. He wrote a number of books. One of those books was titled Waters of Silence. Silence is like a flowing river. You can take dips in the waters of silence. You can cleanse your hearts, your minds, your souls in the waters of silence. And practical suggestion number 5 is rejoice in everything that the will of God brings to you. There was a saint, St. Francis de Sales. On his lips there were these words, yes, Father, yes, and always yes. Yes, Father, yes, and always yes. Whatever happened, so many things happen in our life. We can't understand the why of them. Suddenly, a dear one is snatched away from us. Suddenly we suffer losses in business. Suddenly we fall sick. We can't understand the why of these incidents. All we know is that whatever happens, happens according to the will of the Lord. And in the will of the Lord is our highest peace. If we wish to move on the spiritual path, We must rejoice in everything that the Lord sends us. God is all love. God is all wisdom. He is too loving to punish, too wise to make a mistake. Therefore, in everything that God sends us, we should move forward to receive it as His prasadam. There was a furniture merchant. He started from scratch. He built a very flourishing business. He labored for 10 years. After 10 years, he said he wanted to take a holiday. For a fortnight, he went to some hill station, and after a fortnight when he returned, he found that in his absence a conflagration had taken place. A fire had broke out and everything that belonged to him was burned. But he was a man of faith. He picked up a pole, fixed it to the ground. On the pole he fixed a cardboard piece, and on the cardboard piece he wrote the words, "House burned, shop burned, furniture burned, but faith not burned shall restart tomorrow." There was a man of faith.
Number six.
Practical suggestion number 6. You must build your life in prayer. Make prayer a habit. For every little thing, turn to the Lord. When things go wrong, we go to the police, we go to banks, we go to doctors, we go to relatives, we go to friends, but we have not tried God. We should try God. Make prayer a habit. Pick up a small prayer, "Thou art my shepherd, I shall not want," and keep on repeating to yourself, even in the midst of work. This will take you only 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Offer the prayer, again get back to work. You will find that in a week's time, there is a change in your life. The volume of work and the quantity of work both will improve. Practical suggestion number 7.
Yes.
Do everything as an offering to the Lord. We work for wages. Whenever we are asked to do something, we say, what do we get out of it? Don't work for wages. Work for the love of God. If you want to live a spiritual life, work for the love of God. Then who will feed us, you will ask? Who will provide our needs? Remember, my friends, wages and work go together. Whether you work for wages or work for God, wages will come and fall in your lap. But it is the attitude that will change when you work for God. When you work for God, that work becomes a door to a heavenly kingdom. You are so happy. You are so cheerful. You are so occupied. You need nothing else. Work for the love of God. Remember, there are 101 ways of doing the same thing. You may be a teacher teaching a class of students. You may be a lawyer arguing a case in a court of law. You may be a doctor prescribing for your patients. There are always 101 ways of doing the same thing. Some of those ways are right. Some of those ways are wrong. Only one is the very best. Do it in the best way because it is your offering to the Lord. This it is to live the spiritual life. Practical suggestion? Number 8. If you want to live a spiritual life, you must develop a sense of humor, a healthy sense of humor. They asked me once, which of the 5 senses is the most important? The sight of seeing, or the sight of hearing, or the sight of smell, or the sight of touch? or the sight of taste. I told them the sixth sense, the sense of humor. This is something that you must always have, a sense of humor. And remember, humor is a tonic. It is a physical tonic, it is a mental tonic, it is a spiritual tonic. But please don't laugh at others. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at yourself. Every one of us has so many oddities. We can laugh at ourselves. There was a woman who met me and she said to me, I have been married for over 12 months, but in all this period, my husband has smiled at me, has laughed with me only 3 times. Just imagine. Over 12 months and smiling only 3 times. We must smile at each other 3 times every day. We must develop a sense of humor. Saint Teresa of Avila had one day visited many places. She had delivered many sermons. In the evening she returned to her convent. She was tired. She could take a few steps, but she had to walk because there was no method of communication. A man happened to pass by. He was riding a horse. And he said, our Sister Teresa, she's walking on foot and I am riding a horse. He immediately got down from the horse and offered the horse to Saint Teresa. The moment she sat on the horse dropped down dead. And she heard a few words. She says, God whispered in my ear, this is how I treat my friends. And Teresa said to God immediately, that is why you have very few friends. We must have a sense of humor. We must learn to laugh at ourselves. You have heard the name of Bishop Fulton J. Sheen. He had to deliver a lecture in a town. He came to that town quite early and he thought he would walk the distance to the town hall where he had to deliver the lecture. So he got the directions from the manager of the hotel and set out to reach the town hall.